Blair Bryant with the Steller Group Senior Solutions Division. We're here today to talk a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market as our world has been turned upside down with this virus. So we are a real estate firm out of Centennial, Colorado, who specialize in working with downsizers. Our process is designed to be a one-step solution for everyone who's looking to downsize and move, whether that includes getting into a 55-plus community, a ranch single-family home, a patio home, or even moving out of state. Our goal is to make your move seamless and to absolutely maximize your sale on your existing home. Over the past few years, we've been coming to you with seminars at the South Glen Library, and now that we, for the foreseeable future, will not be able to do that, we are going to be bringing you these seminars here virtually on our YouTube channel. I'm excited to bring you the first part of that series today, but in an overview, our four-part series includes right-sizing buying options, where to buy in Denver, what kind of homes are available, what kind of communities are available. Like we talked about, either a single family, detached or attached, whether you're looking to do independent living with one of the 55-plus living communities, or you're looking for something that's a more one move where you're going to get continuing care all the way from independent living all the way to memory care if that is one of your needs. Our second seminar talks about your stuff, what to do with all your stuff, how to get from 5,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet down to 1,000 square feet if that's what you're moving into. We bring in two of our trusted partners. Sierra Olmstead is a senior move manager, and she talks about those tips on how to downsize and how to start getting to a place where you're going to be more free. And I also bring in one of my trusted partners, and that is Christina Brenlinger with Googie Down Estate Liquidators, and she talks about what an estate liquidation process looks like. She talks about a buyout process and how that can be used in places where you can't have a full-on estate sale. And then we talk about where do you put the rest of the stuff that you cannot sell. Our third seminar focuses on what we call home-wise investments. So things you can do to improve your house before you list and reciprocate a return on that investment, not only through a higher price sale, but an easier sale. And our last seminar, our fourth part of the series, talks about preparing your home for sale, navigating this very, very tricky market. Folks, we're headed into some uncharted territory as we come out of this crisis. No one can look at today and tell you what tomorrow's going to bring, but what we can tell you is that real estate is always something that happens. It's always something that needs to happen. As we move into 2020 and 2021, this seminar really focuses on what are those trends we're seeing in the market and what are those best practices you can employ to get ready to move. Moving on, we wanted to bring you some of the news that's happening right now in the real estate world in Denver, Colorado. One of the questions I get from all my clients who are moving is, Blair, what is happening in the real estate market? Have things stopped like the rest of the world has stopped? And the short answer is no. Anecdotally, we've been putting houses on the market here for the past 3 weeks while this crisis has been ramping up, and to our surprise, really, nothing has changed. All these homes are going under contract in under 48 hours. Buyers are still out there in force, and the number one indicator of any seller's market is inventory. Inventory is very, very low right now. And I expect this trend to only continue as we get into a place where people decide to put their moves on hold. The indicator we see in the market we talk about all the time is the amount of inventory at one time, or the absorption rate. As of February 28th, we had 4,800 homes currently on the market active. About 4,000 homes sell every single month in Denver. So you can see 4,800 homes in the market, 4,000 sales every single month. You've almost got a 30-day type thing going on. And as we got into mid-March with the coronavirus shutdown, we have only seen that continue. We haven't seen any change at all. The second thing I want to point out is interest rates. As you all noticed, interest rates did drop just about a week ago, and our interest rates continue to be a big indicator of future buyer activity. Interest rates are historically low right now. Hard to remember a time where they were actually this low, and that'll continue to fuel some of the fire we see in the market. The other big news we got this week was when Mayor Hancock here in Denver decided to put a stay-at-home order in place, and he talked about what is essential business and what's non-essential business. Released shortly thereafter to the list of essential businesses in Denver, Colorado is the real estate industry. So we will see no change in our orders as far as work. What we are seeing a change on are accommodations to our listings. So number one, we are employing virtual tours and 3D tours. We're allowing buyers who are shopping online, shopping on their phones and on their iPads to jump online and look at our houses as soon as they are on the market. We also are continuing with our staging practices because we believe in this market where things are going to become even more stressful for buyers, that how you prepare your house and how it looks is going to make a big difference. We are also accommodating for smaller social distancing type situations. So when it gets to the actual house going on the market, we're not going to have open houses. We're not going to overlap appointments. We're going to keep sanitary measures in place with gloves and disinfectant. The good news, people, is that houses are going under contract pretty quick here. And we don't see that changing. One of the stories I've been telling my sellers is that in King County, Seattle, where this has basically been ground zero for the coronavirus, the news out of that market is real estate has changed very, very little. They're continuing to see closings. Closings, of course, look a lot different. You don't have a ton of people in the room. You only have 1 or 2 people in the room at a time. The same thing's been happening out in San Diego, in California, and I expect real estate to continue here over the next few weeks. We're just accommodating to get to a virtual platform. So what are those best practices you can think about if you're thinking about selling or buying a home here in the next month or month and a half? Even if you're further out, you're a downsizer thinking about selling over the summertime or over the fall, the first dynamic I want to point out is how our summer and fall markets tend to work. So as inventory increases, there are more houses on the market. That offers more options for buyers. And when you have more options for buyers, you're going to see a slowdown in how fast things go under contract because buyers will have more time and more to select from. The other thing we anticipate with the coronavirus is some buyers are going to be putting their moves on hold, which means you'll have less buyers in the market. This dynamic of more inventory and less buyers is something we see here in Denver almost every single year. I think this year with this coronavirus epidemic that we're going through, I do think that is going to make things even more pronounced. So I think your days on market are going to be higher, and I ultimately think that you're just going to be looking at prices pulling back. Now that is a dynamic we see here in the Denver market every single year, is that inventory increases. Our peak for closings tend to be those May and June months, but remember how real estate works. When you put your house in the market, it takes a few days, a few weeks to go under contract, and then it takes at least 30 to 40 more days before it closes. So homes that are closing in May and closing in June actually went on the market in April and March. As we get into these summer months, we're going to see a slowdown. We're going to see prices pull back. There's no indication that the Denver economy is changing that radically here. We used to be attached to oil and gas, and as oil and gas went, so did our housing market. But now we have a very diversified economy. So I don't see that changing that much. The other factor I want you to remember as you think about listing in the summer and in the fall is our 2020 presidential election. In 2016, this had a dynamic effect on our market. Things really slowed down. Now remember, people don't like change, and we're going through a big change right now. So you need to be patient. You need to understand that things will go back to normal, and we will start to see things flow as they normally did. Most indications are, is once this economy turns back on, we're going to see a lot of pent-up demand jump back in the market, and it's going to be great for sellers. I also want you to think about this last point. As you have time to sit and think about what you're going to do with your home sale in the future, I want you to think about what can you do to proactively get ready for that sale. Well, number one, you need to know where your home value currently sits. I would recommend calling a Steller Group agent. There's going to be a link below on clicking and getting someone to call you back to get your current value. We don't need to come inside your house. We can jump on the phone and we can talk about condition, location, and the current sales and give you a good idea of where your home value is at. My agents can also talk to you about those best practices that our other sellers are doing. And one of those things is talking about investment in cosmetic improvement and investment in deferred maintenance. And so that's going to be a topic of one of our seminars that we'll be putting on here over the next month. And the last thing we're going to talk about is really timing. How do you time all this out to coincide with where you're trying to move? As we talked about before, when housing comes available and when that right place to move into comes available, you're going to be ready to sell your house. Well, depending on the dynamics of the market, you might want to be looking at getting your house in the market a little sooner than later. Thank you again for tuning in to our first virtual seminar. We are, as you, just enduring through this crisis, and we know that we will endure and we'll come through this. And we look forward to getting more information out there as it becomes available.